Big day in the market today, guys. A lot of news to discuss. A couple of things. We're going to talk about the NASDAQ. We're going to talk about New York Community Bank. Guys, very volatile for New York Community Bank today. Crypto was huge today. And then we're going to finish it off talking about Powell and rate cuts. First off, NASDAQ. It started the day up 1%. Got to almost even, then rebounded and went up to 1.2% and finished the day off at about 0.6%. So basically gave up half its gains. Why? Well, around going up to 1.2%, Fed Powell started speaking. We're going to get into that later. But if you look at this heat map, guys, this is the S&P today. Look at our boy, NVIDIA, up 2.83%, hit an all-time high of $897. The terror continues. Guys, look at this. Semiconductors. Find me any red on here. You can't. Every semiconductor was up today. Big time stuff. Tesla continued to go down. I wrote today on Twitter about how Tesla has gone nowhere. It is down over the last 3 years. And for those of you who've been watching us for 3 years, I used to get blasted, much like I get blasted now about NVIDIA. I used to get blasted about Tesla. Paul, you don't get it. You don't get it. And all I say is, guys, it's an amazing company that keeps getting better, and the stock is well below all-time highs. In the short run, stocks are a voting machine. In the long run, they're a weighing machine. And that's it to repeat to yourself all the time. Now, NYCB. What happened with NYCB today? Guys, NYCB opened up at around $3.20 a share, and it fell down as low as $1.70. This is all today. And then former Treasury Secretary Mnuchin came out with his firm and agreed to a $1 billion equity investment. And the stock went as high as $4.18 before it settled at, let's see where it's at right now. I just pulled it up. It finished today at $3.48, up 8%. Guys, it was down almost 50% today. Almost 50% today and finished up 8%. Talk about volatile. Now, what's my opinion on NYCB? Guys, I don't understand banks. I don't understand how to value them. They're a very different breed, but somebody watching this channel right now understands how to value banks. My recommendation is take a look at NYCB. This company is down 65% year to date. That's a little over 2 months of time. It's down 65%. Does that mean it's a value? Not necessarily. What it means is you should dig deeper. Go check it out. If you know somebody who works at a bank, not just a bank teller, a CFO, somebody high up, or you know an analyst who follows banks, go pick their brain. It's important to do that. If you're in our community and you understand banks, we have a chat specifically for banks. Go in there and have a talk about it because I think NYCB deserves some attention. Absolutely should take a look at it. Mnuchin made an investment in there. I like that, but we don't know what that really, really means. Okay. Guys, Bitcoin is flying high. That's a big news story. It hit an all-time high the other day of 69,500 or something like that. Then fell really quickly to almost 60,000 and now has rebounded back to 67. Guys, everybody knows my stance on crypto. I have yet to hear an investment thesis for crypto. You might sit there and say, you're talking to the wrong people. Guys, I've talked to people who have crypto funds. I've talked to self-professed crypto experts. I had a guy on a show who was certified in the crypto community. And by the way, he was the most knowledgeable about crypto itself. But just because you understand something doesn't make it a good investment. Look at the dot-coms. The dot-coms were the biggest, that was the biggest thing that happened to the world in the last 30 or 40 years. And guess what? How many dot-coms went bust? I don't buy it that the US government will allow crypto to exist in its form that was originally intended, which was to avoid government intervention, direct payments, to avoid people watching. You think the US government or any major government's going to allow people to do things under their radar? Are you out of your... Remember, if you guys don't remember, years before, they loved crypto. People love crypto saying, you don't pay taxes on it. And then you know what the US government did? Hey, you have to pay taxes on that. Boy, how weird is that? Guys, as this very, very smart person I know once said, the reason he doesn't believe in crypto is I wouldn't want to be a competitor to the US government. And I thought that was a brilliant statement. Why would the US government want a competitor to their currency? And the funny part is, to me, people talk about it being a replacement currency. Replacing what? The dollar? But you value crypto in dollars. That's the ironic part about all of it. You sit there and sell crypto to get more dollars. You use dollars to buy more crypto. Do I think the US might have its own cryptocurrency someday? Sure, that's plausible. Do I think there needs to be more efficiency in transactions? Absolutely. And crypto does a good job of, if you want to go get money to that Nigerian prince who emailed you yesterday about the $170 million stuck in his inheritance, absolutely a great way to get him the money so he can defraud you. But in the meantime, I just don't buy the long-term thesis of having 10, 20,000 cryptocurrencies out there. Doesn't mean, just like the internet, I believed in the internet. I just didn't believe in every company on the internet being a great investment. As I've said to people, every time I hear a crypto expert tell me how great crypto is, I say, give me your explanation. They always give it. I say, great. Add a zero, add 2 zeros to the crypto price. Is it still the same thesis? Yes. Take 5 zeros away. Is it still the same thesis? Yes. Then it's not an investment. Because that means no price is too high. And you don't understand what a good price is. Limited supply, guys, give me a plastic bag. I'll go take a dump in it. There's a limited supply of that plastic bag with my shit in there. Does that make it valuable? No. Scarcity doesn't mean value. Scarcity plus use equals value. That's the big thing. I just spoke yesterday on Twitter about the difference between speculation and investment. I really struggled with this for a long time because Ben Graham and the Intelligent Investor has some long, convoluted explanation of investment upon thorough research. Do you have protection of capital, blah, blah, blah. And of course, every crypto person would say, absolutely, I did a lot of research and I think it's going to be around forever and it's going to be safe. Okay. But Warren Buffett, I saw a video in which he explains it. And I thought this spoke to me for what my definition of investment versus speculation is. If I have an investment, I don't care if there's a market for that asset. If the market for that asset to be sold is gone for 10 years, I can still generate returns from that investment and get an adequate return on my money. That's why apartments, stocks, bonds, those things are investments. Because if all of a sudden I can't sell that stock for 10 years, I'm still going to be able to get ownership in that company and theoretically get paid out that ownership stake. Same with apartments, same with houses, all these things. But if it doesn't, it's a speculation play. And that's okay. I speculate. I've bought rare things before. I buy rare books. I buy rare art. I buy rare currency just to hold. And do I buy it because I like it? Yes. Is it also hopeful that down the road it's worth more money? Absolutely. But it's not going to give me any money along the way. That's speculation. Absolutely speculation. If you want to blast me on that, join our community. We have a $7 for 7 days. Come in there, have the conversation, get ahead of the news, be able to talk about things as they happen live. We have thousands of people in there. Go to everythingmoney.com, $7 for 7 days. Now, Powell and rate cuts. Guys, with Powell, he came out today, and this is what I want to talk about with amazing that people will hear what they want to hear. I just saw an article before I came to record this video, and the article said, Powell has guaranteed or assured everybody he will cut rates this year. And I was like, he said that? Because I'd read a lot about what he said. I didn't listen to what he said, and I could be wrong. But I'm like, I don't think he said that. So I read the article. Not once did they have a quote in there that where Powell said, I'm going to cut rates this year. Not one time. You would think that with that title, he would have said, here's the quote of Powell saying we will cut rates. All Powell said was, listen, we're going to keep an eye on this. And we don't need to get to 2% before we cut rates. But guys, let me ask you this question. Why cut rates? If the economy is booming, if we have 3.7% unemployment, why would you need to cut rates? What's the reason? We cut rates because we want to stimulate the economy. You don't stimulate an already hot economy. There's no reason to do that. I think everybody wants these rate cuts because they were used to really low rates for a few years. But guys, we're not at rates that are absurd for history. It's not like we're at some rates that, now, for those of you who are under the age of 40, yeah, it sounds like a really high rates right now. But from 1981 until now, we've been in a decreasing rate environment. Rates were as high as 15 and 18%. I remember in 2003 buying my first property, and a real estate guy said to me, oh, just wait till we get 15% rates again. And I remember looking at him going, why? That was his history. His history was 15%. He started his career during 15% interest rates. And I looked at him and said, you realize we never had those rates before the early 80s. And I was a 22-year-old punk back then. I was like, we never had those rates before 1980. He said, I don't think that's true. Go look at it. We never had those rates before then. Rates were never that high. That was specifically done to fight inflation. Okay? Now, we will cut rates at some point, but they're not so high now, like 15 or 18%, where you just lower them to gradually decrease them. No, they're at the 10-year history, the 10-year Treasury history, the average about 4.5% going back 150 years. We're at 4.2, 4.3. We're a little bit under that range. So right now, compared to history, we're still below the 10-year, the average of the 10-year Treasury. Powell has said over and over again, his number one concern is price stability. Now, he did say today that maybe 2% isn't as attainable as he thought it would be, and he might want to consider 2.5% or 3%. Maybe that'll happen. Listen, there's a lot of public pressure on the guy. I don't blame him for going back and forth on his comments. There's a lot of things that sit there and understand from Powell's perspective that also involve people. Listen, the reality is you're out there and people hate you when you raise rates. People blast him. He'd go on the Senate floor. People would criticize him. People who know nothing about economy, they would criticize him. I don't blame him. But I truly believe that deep down inside with him, he probably sits there and goes, why would I cut rates? Why do I need to cut rates? The economy is boom. We have 3.7% unemployment. We have GDP growth. We have inflation decreasing. Why would I cut rates? Now, if he's worried about deflation, absolutely cut rates. Deflation is almost worse than inflation. Why? Because if prices are going lower, people will start to push off their spending. I'll just wait a little bit longer and I'll buy it later for a cheaper price. That's worse. We want people to say, I'm going to spend it now because if I wait a year, the price might go up. Guys, remember, 7% mortgage rates aren't some absurd mortgage rate of history. It's absurd for a lot of people who bought a house in the last 5 to 10 years. I get that. But overall, it's not an absurd interest rate. It's maybe where it should be. And by the way, guys, it's not awful. Remember, prices have still gone up on houses because of limited supply, as well as the inflation factor has helped prices go up. I've always said in this channel for 3 or 4 years, inflation is the friend to real estate. Because if you can buy the house next door for $300,000, but it costs you $500,000 to build an exact replica, you better believe that house next door is not going to be $300,000 anymore. It's going to be way higher. Is it going to be 500? Probably not, because why buy something for 500 that isn't brand new? Maybe 450 though. It's still a lot higher than the original price. That's how inflation helps real estate. Now, guys, even though stocks are flying high, I currently own 20 stocks. I'm hoping their prices go down, and they will go down, and I will buy more. But if you want to watch a video about the 30 stocks I want to own forever, watch this next video. Thank you for your time. Okay.